Okay, so that was Director Dixon. So I'm going to ask Nikisha, do you want to introduce yourself first and your position in your company? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, get off of mute there. Good morning, everyone. Keisha Bosby with J.E. Dunn Construction Company. I'm a Senior Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Manager. J.E. Dunn is the general contractor, and we are headquartered in Kansas City, Missouri, and we'll turn 97 years old this year. I've been in construction for 27 years, and I have a real passion for exposing our youth to the opportunities in the construction careers, including the skilled trades. Construction is a really good option as a career, friends, and so we're just really excited to help build that next generation of builders. Thanks for allowing me to be here today. It's an honor.
Thanks, Nikisha. Next, we have Mike Berry from Fireplace and Barbecue Center.
Hi, my name is Mike Berry. I'm, like Brian said, from the Fireplace and Barbecue Center. It's a company in Overland Park. We install gas fireplaces, wood-burning fireplaces, outdoor kitchen areas in both new construction and remodels. Our company's been around since 1945. I've personally worked with the company for 25 plus years. It's enjoyable because we get to see all phases of construction. One disadvantage of that is that we get to see inexperienced people doing all phases of construction. So it's really important that we teach the youth to do it properly, and we need some good skilled workers out there. So I'm excited to be a member of this as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. How about David Elliott, if you can introduce yourself and your company next.
Good morning. I'm David Elliott. Construction and Planning Services is an extension of what was CMP Construction. We started the business in 1966, so we're in our 55th year this year. I'm a good example of a high school graduate. I went to work in the oil fields as a young man, and then married my beautiful wife from Boston, and she didn't like Elk City, Oklahoma. We ended up back east, and I started building ski condos in 1985. We moved back out here to Kansas City area in 91. Went to work for Rock and Coal with CMP. I worked my way up as a foreman for them, and in May of 2007, 14 years ago, I bought the business. We currently are running 8 crews. They usually have 38 to 40 men, and I've really enjoyed working with the Votex, working on getting these young people out into the trades. I'm a perfect example. You don't have to have college education to become successful and to run a business and to gain experience in trades and become good at what you do. So we're very thankful that we've been asked to be here, and we look forward to hearing from the panel today.
Thanks, David. Next, I have Ryan Hassett. Want to introduce yourself, Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan Hassett, Pella Products of Kansas City. So Pella started, I think, around 1925. So the Pella branch here, there's 70 Pella branches throughout the United States. And currently, we work with over probably 300 different builders or subcontractors, roofers, siding, remodelers in the Kansas City metro area. So my passion when it comes to the youth is I've also been a youth coach for 20 some years. So kids are very important. It's what we can do to help you guys and help them get to where they need to be. And just like David said, you don't have to be a college grad to be successful in life. And I'm really looking forward to the questions you guys might have to help that hopefully we can facilitate and get you to where you need to be.
Thanks, Ryan. Next, Greg, and I'm going to let you say your last name.
Greg Kuderna. I am with Hinges Insulation. I'm a Kansas City native for the most part. Went to school at Shawnee Mission South, took off and did college at K-State. In between that, I spent about 1.5 years at Johnson County Community College trying to figure out exactly which career path I wanted to take. Deep inside my heart, I always knew it was construction, but I was uncertain about could I make a living in that trade. So I went to college to get an education. Primarily, I went for architectural engineering. I wasn't quite able to cut that mustard, so I changed my career to construction science and then ended up with a construction science and a business degree. So I graduated K-State. I took a couple of jobs in different industries, consumer products and so forth, worked for great companies, and then ended up deciding that construction was my path. And I bounced around a little bit from windows to siding and ended up in insulation and energy improvements for homes that relate to comfort and so forth. So I also kind of like David, even though I had the degree, I went from sweeping floors in the warehouse to basically being the president of Hinges Insulation. And that takes hard work and dedication, but you got to have the passion in your heart or it's going to be a tough ride. So welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, Greg. And to round us out, let's have Bethany Riley.
Good morning, everyone. Bethany Riley from Turner Construction. I have been in the construction industry for over 15 years. Turner has been building in Kansas City since the 1940s. Our company is 116 years old. I'm originally from St. Joseph, and I went to the Missouri University of Science and Technology. It wasn't called that when I went there. So, but after school, I ended up working for a different general contractor in Las Vegas. So I got to build really exciting big buildings. But honestly, I wanted to be home. So after a brief stint in Phoenix, I came home and started working for Turner. So one thing I want to note, if you notice my background, I'm the current president of the National Association of Women in Construction within Kansas City. And we do a lot of things for both male and female students, and also trades and any kind of construction related occupation in Kansas City. And one exciting thing that we do is we do offer scholarships for both men and women going into the construction industry background, as well as in this summer, assuming that COVID is not a thing this year, we do something called Camp NAWIC that exposes young high school women to construction trades so they can decide if that's something that they really want to do. So if anybody would be interested in that, we'd love to have you sign up.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you all for being here. We have a really, really great group. Definitely a mixture of some locally owned businesses to corporations, and it's great to have a balance. It's construction in Kansas City, so love that you're here. I'm going to turn my mic off here in a minute and let David Slater take over. What I will tell you, if you're a participant, you've never been part of a Zoom webinar, you will not see yourself on the call. You're actually participants. It's a webinar format. So if you have a question, your questions are very important to us. So Abby and I will monitor that, and David will let you know if there's questions. So if you have a question you want to ask, put it in the Q&A. All of our participants should have a Q&A box at the very bottom of your screen. Has two little bubbles and says actually Q&A. And that way we can facilitate the questions through Abby and David. So again, I'll just wrap up to start the next session by just thanking you all for being here. So David, take it away.
Let's start off with Keisha again. If you were offering advice to educators, which courses, experience, or concepts would you want to ensure are taught to students so they have success in their field?
Sure. I would say really that the courses that obviously are, that are needed are going to be the technical ones, like your math and things like that, that any tradesman or woman would say, it's going to be important, if you were going into the skilled trades. But I'll say I have worked with high school students in the J.E. Dunn building since, oh my gosh, early 2000s. And one thing that I've always seen consistent in all of our students is really those social skills, those social interactive skills. And so I would say really try to invest more time and just really giving those students experiences so that they can feel more comfortable interacting in settings, or I should say foreign environments, because as a student worker, myself, I do recall, when you enter those environments that are foreign or different to you, it is a little more difficult, especially if you're the youngest person there, or, it's just this large office, et cetera. So just really those interactive skills, I think, are really important for students. And that's something that over the years, I've really invested time in. It's just really giving them that exposure because that helps so much more, regardless of what industry they decide to go into.
Mike, same question.
Muted.
Oh, sorry. Obviously, again, the technical are going to be very important depending on what field you go into. the particular field that we do, we kind of hit all phases of construction. We do a little bit of framing, we do a little bit of electrical, plumbing, venting, stuff like that. So I would say probably one of the most important things that students need to know is to choose a field that you have interest in. One thing I like about my job is the fact that when I get done, or when I go to work, get done at the end of the day, I can look back and I can actually see that I've done something. I can see progress on, if it's a big job, progress on a big job. If it's a small job, a one-day job, you can get in there, you see the finished product, and it's a sense of pride. So select a course or a trade that's going to be something that you really have a lot of interest in, and you'll really go far with that. That's it.
Nice. Abby, let me know when you have something. Okay, so let's go to David then. What advice would you offer to parents to help prepare their students for the future workforce success in your given field?
I think one of the things we found out working with workforce development, a work ethic really has to be created at an early age. As a parent, if you have a child even at 5, 6 years of age, are you making them clean their room? Are you making them do chores? Are you teaching them to help out? Are you working with them as authority to say, I need you to do this, you're expected to do this? And you teach them to enjoy having work chores, and you compliment them well. By the time they get to be 12, 13, 14 years of age, they've already been established in this. We've seen a lot of young people that are 12, 13, 14 years of age and don't have that skill yet. They're behind the curve. So as a parent, developing a work skill as young children, I think is really critical. And then teaching them self-sufficiency, and this is, you can do that, be positive with their connections. And I think for the most part, that's the most important thing a parent can do. The second thing is trying to find something they have a passion in. If your child likes what they're doing, and they find out that they like building things, or they like working with their hands, they're more suited to tend to want to do those type of things, work them towards a field that would be successful for them. If they have a passion in it, they're going to work a lot harder at it. If they feel like they're being forced into something, kids are going to rebel against that every time. So that's what I think.
What's your take, Ryan?
So one of the things that I wish, when I was in high school, my parents or even those teachers taught me was financial responsibility as well. So coming out of high school, I had a part-time job. I was a lifeguard making, $5 an hour. It was great. But when you go directly into a trade and you make, let's say you make 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, depending if you're an electrician, a plumber, whatever it might be, all of a sudden you have a large influx of cash. You want to go out and buy that brand new truck. You want to go out and buy those things. But having the financial responsibilities and taking that class, whatever class your school might offer, of saying, I need to be able to balance a checkbook. I need to be able to figure out where are my bills coming from, because a lot of people don't understand that. Even when you get out of college, you get that brand new job. Awesome. I'm going to make 60 grand. This is great. Holy crap. I'm living the American dream and my credit cards are maxed. So learning that financial responsibility that comes with the job that you chose, that to me, it's extremely important. It's going to set you up for later in life instead of just right now. Great, I got a lot of money, but what am I going to do with it?
Okay. Unless Abby's got something, Greg, let's go to you. What type of jobs are within your industry related to professional careers and or skilled trade careers?
So we have positions open, or that come about from time to time anyway, anywhere from warehouse to mechanic, actual labor installers, salespeople, and managers. And people kind of find their niche as they go through life. For example, in their younger days, they may be more laborious. Well, that's going to give them the hands-on skills as a manager to help the people that come in under their fold. So you got to start somewhere, and all these positions, anywhere from accounting to office management, computer work, all those positions are available even in a small company like mine. I have 26 employees, and I have a CPA at the very top, and we have people that sweep the floors at the bottom, and they all make good money. They when you compare it to graduating with a college degree, depending on what your degree is, there's no promises you're going to have X number of dollars for a salary. So one thing that I learned early on is to be exposed to things like what's going on here today, and to, you know, find yourself in whichever channel or area you're going to be happy with in life, and just follow that pursuit. It will always develop into something better if you're a contributor.
What's your take, Bethany?
So I was just thinking while Greg was speaking that the exciting thing about construction and just being in this industry is it's not just about being in the field and building or being, my background was being an engineer and or a project manager. Similar, we have HR, we have business development, we've got workforce development folks, we've got finance, we have cost engineers that go and audit a job to make sure, you know, the costs are in line. We have HR, of course. There's so many different capacities that you can have in the construction industry. BIM, 3D modeling, if computers are your thing, you could do graphics. I mean, we have, obviously, just like Keisha, we have community and citizenship people that make sure that we're impacting our community positively, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important to us, is we're building something that impacts the community and makes it better. So I think just making sure people understand that there's so many opportunities in the construction industry. And I'll say, as a side note, as a mom, the number one thing I want to teach my children who are still quite young is to just find something that, you know, they're passionate about, that they want to go to work every day, that challenges them, that they leave an impact on their community. And obviously it'd be nice if they make a good living, but at the end of the day, I'm 100% believe you should never compare your salary to anybody else. If you're doing what makes you happy and you can support your family, that's the most important thing. So.
Abby, you got anything in the chat box yet?
Not yet. So those of you attending, don't be shy. Please ask questions.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on then. Back to you, Keisha. As a follow-up, what degrees, certificates, or experience do your candidates need to be hired into certain positions? Does everybody going to J.E. Dunn need a college degree or certain certificates? Or
Well, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, really, just to echo, you know, Bethany and Greg on what they said, there are so many careers under the roof at construction companies that I think that's probably the worst misconception about our industry, right? You know, that there's only one thing happening there. So it really depends. So do you want to be an accountant, or do you want to be an attorney, or would you rather be on site, you know, overseeing a crew, or concrete, or performing a trade? So it really depends. And again, like they say, construction is actually one of the industry's friends where you can learn as you earn, you know, as we say, actually walk away with a skilled trade that is worth as much as a bachelor's degree, you know, that you didn't incur debt to get. So, you know, as I just run into students all the time, that is something that I just try to continue to educate them on, because I know that everyone isn't college bound, but I still know that construction is a great, great option. And so, you know, just trying to get that out. We try to develop tools, you know, just really to try to get those out and get them into the schools, because again, we know everyone on this call knows that there's just misconceptions about our industry that really keeps young folks from being interested. So technology, we do it, you know, we got it. If you like to be on computers and whatnot, you will have a blast in construction, because we're looking how to innovate, do stuff differently, right? We don't want to keep doing stuff like they did in the dinosaur days. So bring your ideas, bring your innovation. We're all here for it. So don't think of us as the boring crew.
what about you, Mike? What kind of schooling or experience you need?
Well, in our industry, you know, general construction is always good because we do touch a lot of different portions of it. But we're also NFI certified, which is the National Fireplace Institute, to install fireplaces and such. So again, it just kind of depends on the portion of construction you're going into. I know my son-in-law, he went to college and got his degree in safety management and is actually a safety guy for JE done here in town. So it just kind of depends on what you're going into. One of the most important things I think in construction, like's been said a few times, is that you can kind of learn as you go. So general knowledge, the ability to get in there and work is the most important thing. And then you can learn a lot of it as you kind of go and grow with the company.
David?
Yeah, in framing, it's just kind of like you need to show up and we train in the field. Anything that you can get out of your basic skills that are learned in VOTEC are only going to help you advance faster. So if you have good saw skills, you have good, basically also just learning how to read tapes, understand how some of the pitches work and the different things. In framing, it's about getting out there, having desire, being able to work outside and enjoy the ups and downs of the weather, and being able to enjoy the creation process. I can drive through the town in all of our years and I can take a student that we're shadowing and I can point out building after building after building after building that we've built. All different styles and shape, commercial, remodel, infill, big mansions in Mission Hills. I mean, that's a legacy and there's a pride in that legacy. And anybody who really gets into construction, and no matter what they construct, they can always look back and say, hey, I was part of that project. I was part of building that. Or as a company owner, hey, I'm really proud of what we did there. I guarantee you my foremen are just amazing in what they do. I give them these drawings and I set them up and then they take off with it. It's such a fascinating experience. It's fascinating to watch young people as they come up and the things start to click. And all of a sudden they're figuring out stuff on their own and they're going more and more and we're paying them more and more. We're happy to pay them. We want all of our employees to be successful. I think every one of us can say that. We want to see them do well because they do well, we do well. It's a reciprocal arrangement. So I think for me, that's the greatest satisfaction that I have is watching these young people come up. We're aging out and we are been fortunate to be hiring young people. And it's been due to efforts of workforce development that we're starting to get some of these people interested in our trades.
Ryan?
Yeah, so Nikisha said something, learn as you earn. That is a huge thing for these kids because when you start out like Greg and David and even myself, I was a grunt. I started out low man on the totem pole. So you have to have that work ethic and drive to get to the point. What Greg said earlier that's a great point. And David said it as well. Started out as a little person and now look where they're at. But they didn't get there just by doing just what they're asked. Go above and beyond. You need to be able to look at those things and say, all right, I work with customers every single day. I have my blueprints sitting here that I look through every day. But when I'm looking at a homeowner, yeah, the architect drew this, but I need to look and see, was that really what the homeowner wanted? I need to ask those questions and go above and beyond. We call it value engineering in my world. How can I make it look like that, but maybe not cost as much? Figure out a way to make yourself valuable to your employer. There's so much to that. Figure out what your niche is with that company and help yourself grow.
Greg?
As far as education and certifications, we hire and train once a person started. It's really nice to have someone that has math skills and can write legibly and things like that. Those are the soft skills that are really important to me. But, sometimes it gets right down to how a young person has lived their life. And amazingly enough, I would say maybe 7 out of 10 people can't pass a drug screen. In the litigious society we're in these days, we have to make sure that our employees are safe, not only for themselves, but for the other people they're working with. So I encourage young people to watch what you're doing these days. I mean, we are all growing up. That never goes away, even at my age. But the soft skills, when you come in and you can't hire 3 out of 10 people, it just, your group of possibilities are limited. So I'd say just as much as education and some of the certifications and things like that we do, we also do some personal training for how to stay away from bad habits and things like that. But yeah, you need to be free. You need to be able to drive a vehicle. Most of these jobs are driving vehicles, and if not, you have to drive to the job site. You need to have a valid driver's license. So just keep those really basics as you're growing up. And if you got those problems, be quite honest with people you're applying to. We can work with certain situations. We just need to know. And I think all of us, if you're able to watch this, if it's being recorded, you can watch it again. See when everybody nods their heads. That's when we've said something that's
Great.
9 panelists on here. So those are the key points that I would take away from something like this. The rest we teach you on site. Education's great, but it's not everything. Book smarts doesn't get you the paycheck. It just helps.
Bethany, wrap up that question, girl, young lady.
So just real quick, they're the next two from Thomas Meyer and Phoenix I would like to answer to, if you don't mind. But I would just add that I firmly believe that whether you go to college or you come out of high school, in my mind, as long as you can critically think and solve a problem, you go to school, to me, you prove you can learn. If you're formable, if you can figure out a problem and you made it through school, you can figure out a problem on the job site. Another really big thing to me, and I try to tell all the younger staff here, is learn from the tradespeople on the job. You may go out on that job as an engineer who just came out of college, or maybe you got a position out of high school, but you don't know what you think you know, and they do. And those people have been doing this for 20 or 30 years, and they can teach you so much. So one, be kind. It's soak up as much as you can. But again, if you have critical thinking skills that you've learned through, kind of back to what Keisha said earlier, being involved in, I think I learned a lot in college, being on many organizations, just learning to deal with other people and being in situations where I had to deal with different personalities. But yeah, critical thinking and being able to learn and then learn from others that have been doing it forever. So.
Abby, you're up, right?
All right, well, it looks like we have a couple of questions here. I know, Bethany, you just said you wanted to direct your answer to Thomas Meyer's question. What tips and strategies do you have for diversifying racial and gender, the construction workforce, and recruiting new talent into the industry?
So I just want to start by saying I am beyond proud to work for Turner Construction. We were we scored 100% on the human rights campaign for corporate equality, for a place to work for LGBTQ, and for the 6th year in a row. We also have a corporate policy to confront racial inequality that we are all required to take. We have a zero tolerance policy that if we have any subcontractor on a job that harasses or does anything in any way seen as inappropriate, that subcontractor is removed from the project. No questions asked, it's in their contracts. We enacted that this past year. So how we're diversifying, we make sure that we go and recruit at all colleges, not just big ones around here. We make it a point to go to historically Black colleges. We make it a point to go to just different colleges and make sure that our interview pool and the folks that we're talking to are diverse. Our goal is diversity and inclusion. I feel like Keisha could probably answer this really well too, being in her position, but at the end of the day, the number one thing that's the most important to us is that no matter who you are, you can come to work and be your authentic self. And if you can't for any reason, that's dealt with right away. But again, I think that's something, just going back to what I said earlier, when I'm teaching my kids, be kind, and speak up. If you feel threatened or you feel uncomfortable, don't be afraid to say something, because it won't stop and it won't get better, right? Unless you say something. So I would just say that. I mean, I'm pretty passionate about that. I'm in we have employee resource groups for supporting our employees that are people of color or LGBTQ, and I'm involved in those. So yeah. So
Right. Nikisha, did you want to pop in there and answer that question as well?
Yeah, just in addition to what Bethany shared, some other strategies that we found really work for students. Well, and I'll say students because that's where we can really kind of see the immediate effects, is to really get into the schools early and really try to generate the interest in construction. That's where we've been seeing some of the most success, because just traditionally Black and Brown students just didn't have a lot of knowledge about the construction industry. So they just haven't, been a part of the cycle to be involved in it, as a career choice. So that's been really successful. Getting into the schools, talking with the teachers, talking with the administrators, being a part of events, getting in the classrooms, just really kind of saying, we want you to be a part of this, this industry, be our next workforce. And again, being intentional about the schools that we select to do that in. We partner with all schools, obviously, but, when you're really trying to cause change, you have to really be intentional. And so, intentionally, we just focus on those populations and to really try to get them interested in our industry and kind of kill a lot of the myths too. I'm sure everyone has been around construction long enough on here to know some of the ugly myths and things about, construction that might be said, and just really try to help students understand, like Bethany said, we're trying to really change that perception, get folks into the skilled trades, get folks into the professional roles as well. And I'll just have to throw that in, students of color, if you're going to these colleges and you're in the construction management programs, great. We need project managers, we need those other professionals in the office as well, that are of color, that can be some of that next leadership too. So we definitely encourage all students to reach out. When I say students, I should say administrators, because we want to get in front of your students. Trust me, that is something we definitely want to do, is get in front of your student groups.
Great, thank you so much. Unless anyone else wants to pop in and answer that question, we do have a couple of other ones that we would like to get to. So if that's okay with everyone, we'll go into the next question. Sorry, my dog is also kind of being a pain right now. So if you hear anything, that's just him. All right, so this one is for Greg specifically. Says what you think about construction science and management degree from K-State that he took over a normal construction management degree somewhere else.
Well, K-State has a really awesome construction science program, and they also have a extremely active entrepreneurial program. And so when I was going to school, I was doing all kinds of things from facility management with a splash of HVAC and electrical and windows and all that stuff. So I got to be and interact with a lot of business owners, even outside of the construction industry. I mean, it had culinary and things like that. We did hotel visits with the owners of Marriott and how they got started and how the CEOs, run their companies. So K-State was really super active as far as I'm concerned. I didn't go to another school. I also got to tell you that I think Johnson County Community College is an awesome school. I spent 1.5 years there. Their trade programs were phenomenal. K-State's good. Pittsburgh's good. I don't want to not mention any schools that I'm not representing, but those are the ones I know and that I'm active with. And I just liked also kind of K-State was not, 20 minutes from my mom and dad. I wanted to be out and I wanted to grow up. And so I was not fortunate enough to go to an out-of-state school. I paid my own education at K-State. That's what I could afford. And that's why I chose it. But I do think they have a great program dovetailed with their entrepreneurial efforts.
Can I add in a little bit that with Greg? One of the things that we see working through our construction industry is we're dealing with young people that are going into construction education in our colleges and universities. They really need to get out and do some summer internships in the field. This is something that we really notice the difference between, especially with architects and engineers that are designing our structures. You gain so much knowledge when you understand how we are applying what is being given to us in our drawings and our specifications. And we are seeing some stuff now that I've never seen before, and I'm going, this is nuts. These people need to get out here and really see what we do and understand how we have to apply this. And it would really, the ones that do, when we know who they are, we can tell, and when we call them up and talk to them on the phone, there's a greater understanding between us. So if a young person decides to do this, I strongly suggest that they spend some time working in the fields that they're going to be working in during the summertime. Take summer off, go get a tan, have a great time, make some money, but then go back to school. You don't have to buzz through it. Take your time. You got a whole lifetime ahead of you. That would be a suggestion by me.
Well, that's great, David, because that kind of leads into another question here. Do any of these companies represented here today offer summer internships for juniors and seniors?
I answered that on the line a little bit. There are companies. We have done this quite often. In fact, we've had several college kids in the last couple of summers that have come out and worked an internship with us. One of them was actually going into finance, but he knows how to build a deck for his house, or maybe finish off a room in his basement, or build a bench or a workshop in his garage now. So he learned some valuable skills. He also learned how to work hard. Things aren't as hard in life after you put in some hard labor. You find out some of the things you come up against, that's not so bad compared to what I just did. I accomplished something. There's a lot of satisfaction in that. So what I suggest for all the educators out there and any of the parents, if they're looking for a job, for a summer job, that they contact their Brian or somebody like this and get on a list, and then we'll turn around and try to find a contractor that they can do. The one problem we have a problem with, though, is that we are dealing with our liability and workman's comp insurances. We are somewhat restricted in what they can do as far as being up high or running a certain amount of power tools. But it's just sometimes the general labor, you're going to be out there, you're going to be scrapping, you're going to be packing lumber, these type of things. There's connectors we can have them put on. There are things on the job, but I think the most important thing for a young person getting in an internship is observation. You want to know how something's built, look at it, understand and watch the men and women that put it together. And you'll see it's a big puzzle. Everything we do in construction is nothing but a big puzzle, no matter what it is, but it's all a puzzle. And so get into puzzle building, be good at it. And to put a jigsaw puzzle together, you got to have a pretty good eye to find that piece, don't you?
Hey, Abby, real quick. I want to give a shout out to Ramon Holt from the Builders Association who asked that question. So Ramon, thanks for asking and joining us today, because I know a lot of you work with Ramon. I really, from a principal's perspective, want to hear everybody's answer on this one, because I know that our goal is to get kids into work-based learning. A lot of my peers, whether at high schools or career centers, we want to do that and get them college credit if they seek that for other different degrees. But would love to hear, how do we connect this so that to better partner? I feel like I struggle sometimes, and I want to know more on how to make this an easier process to get a kid summer work or spring of their senior year work. So thank you, David. I would ask that others could continue to jump in and give us some advice and thoughts on that.
So for high school students, we do employ high school students every summer, and we typically have about 4 students. So I'd say that it's a good effort that we are doing, but unfortunately, I feel like because we can only do 4 students a summer, that's kind of the challenge. And I'm not poo-pooing it, but obviously, as the need that we see in our community for more of these opportunities, I feel like, it's only a small bite of what we're able to provide to our students, if that makes sense. I'll say too that the success has been having the students in the office, to you guys' point about, them not being old enough and the liability for them to work on site. But the shadowing opportunities, while they're in the building have also been really, really good for the students, I'll say, because of the exposure again, so I get to work side by side a project manager, just like I would a field engineer, I can kind of see what they're doing as well. So, as a student, I get that exposure to the whole company, the whole experience, and hopefully make a decision, to become a part of that process in some way. Hopefully, we influence them in that manner. So that would be my answer on that. We also are partners with Cristo Rey High School. So we have that work study program in our school as well year round during the school year. So there's students in the building year round, but again, work study and then the summer internships that we're able to offer. Um, love to be a part of the conversation to help find more of those opportunities for our students.
Thank you.
At Hinges, I do offer interns. I offer ride-alongs for a day. If somebody wants to just see what the industry is about, I usually take them myself and they get to see people installing, myself measuring and bidding and so forth. But we do offer interns. For the people that are listening, it's much of a challenge to get to the schools that have students with interest as it is you to get to our company. So just the whole networking experience and job post boards and so on and so forth. We try and do a lot of different things to get the awareness out there, but it's just, we need help not only from, job post boards, but just, school educators and so forth. This person has an interest here or there, church groups, sporting clubs, that kind of thing that we've worked with. And, I just recently, just a short story, had 3 high schoolers loading trucks for me at night for 3 hours. That way they could go to school, do all our things. One of them's already decided, no college, I want to work for you full time. And so it's really exciting to see that progression. It's personal interest.
That's great. Anyone else that want to pop in?
Yeah, I'd like to pop in on that. I sit on the Workforce Development Committee with NERI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry. And that's one thing that we do talk about at a lot of meetings is how we can get the kids involved in summer projects or, interning ride-alongs and stuff like that. And we've talked about having a list of students that are interested in that because we have several trades that do allow ride-alongs and internships. So if we could get a list of students that are interested in that, then we can kind of match them up with maybe the trade that they're interested in, or if they just would like to explore a few different trades. So, always some sort of list of students is very helpful, and then get it to the NERI department, which Gretchen and Jan are kind of in charge of that.
And I would add, at Turner, we also partner with Cristo Rey and have somebody in the building year round, and that really works out well. And we've gotten really good feedback from the students. One actually last year's student went to Missouri Science and Technology, so I was a big fan of him. But I just want to reiterate what I said earlier. Obviously, it's just for young ladies, but we do offer WIC Week through NAWIC. J Dunn is also a big sponsor of that. So along with other general contractors and subcontractors in Kansas City. So that is good exposure to a lot of different opportunities and companies through that. And then additionally, Turner is looking to expand our high school reach, I guess, through a workforce program that we're developing. Unfortunately, we had hoped to roll it out last year, but with COVID, as everybody knows, it kind of changed a lot of plans. So, but I mean, we would be more than happy if anybody was interested in a job shadowing. We've done that as well. But, beyond just job shadowing and doing that, I think just back to what I said, if you get involved in organizations within the school and, any kind of work teaches you work ethic, and that's going to be valuable, kind of what Greg has mentioned a few times.
Ryan, what's your take?
So at Pella, we do offer very similar. We can do a ride along one day, and usually it's with one of the salespeople. And what you get is you get to go see David's guys work and Mike's and Greg's and all those guys, seeing their guys doing the work that, we all need to have done. So, but when it comes to the internship side of it, this is where like I said earlier, we work with over 300 different builders, remodelers, roofers, side of the house people. Those people are always looking for people in the summer. They're always looking for work. Now, I don't have a master list of them, but it's one of those things, I think Mike mentioned it, where, you get a list together. All right, so we pass it out. All of us salespeople just pass it out to all of our guys saying, hey, we have X number of kids looking for work. Like we mentioned earlier, now it's going to be grunt work. You might not be able to do everything, but you're going to get that hands-on experience. So we have a laundry list of people that we have at our fingertips that we can talk to.
All right, great. Well, we're running up here to get about 10 minutes to the top of the hour when our session is going to end. So go ahead and answer a couple more questions. This one is from Brian Cavender. Where would you recommend someone start that isn't necessarily a student, but rather someone looking to change to a more stable career?
Make the phone call. We got to discuss and see what you're looking for and what we might have available. We have hired a couple of restaurant peoples over the last year due to COVID. They're working out great. It just depends on what you want, but make the phone call and ask.
If I can add too, and I think David would probably like this as well as some other folks, but get involved in your local chamber of commerce, get involved in your economic development councils. You meet so many people. Obviously right now, again, with COVID, it's harder because it's virtual, but you're going to make connections. So you have to make calls and get out there and make those connections. And when people see that you're excited about opportunities and you're a self-starter and you're going to go after that, that's, always a good quality to have. But just in the last 3 years, the more active I've been in the Northland Chamber, I've made so many connections and honestly a lot of friends. Again, with NAWIC too, I've made a ton of friends that I wouldn't have made if I wouldn't have, joined them. I would have just had people here at Turner. So, but I would just totally push for you all to get involved in your chamber, and you can go to meetings without being a member to just see if you like it or not. So,
And I would just add to that, other trade organizations as well. They're interested in talking to people about, again, getting them into the industry. So I wouldn't be shy about doing that. And if I can just plug the Builders Association, which is a longtime partner that we've worked with, they've always been a great resource and someone that's a place that I can refer people to get information just generally about the industry.
Abby, do you mind if I wrap this up here with just kind of some comments here? We have 2 students. We have a Phoenix, and Phoenix is interested in getting on the list for summer work. So he's asking, he's put himself out there to get a job. So I've got Phoenix's email. Phoenix, I will connect with you to help you with that, I promise. So it's being recorded on video. I owe you that, my friend. And then Owen is a high school student who believes that, and maybe this is one we can answer a little bit. As a high school student, most peers lack the information about the trades and what they do for the community. I know that someone mentioned the misconception of what construction is and really the opportunities. So how can we work together to help students like Owen and his friends feel like construction's a great pathway for high school kids? Any thoughts on that?
One of the things that I say sometimes in a case like this is, as far as construction goes, everybody thinks you're swinging a hammer or sawing something all day long, and that might be the case, but there's a lot of other careers in here in the industry. You get a college degree and if you're in your field that you like, you're maybe in an office, you're maybe out in the field or whatnot, and you've got that degree and you're invested in on that. But construction,
Hey, Xavier.
construction is one of those things where, we're working 365 days a year. We're fortunate through the last 12 months or so with the pandemic and things like that. And even before that, I've been in this current company since 2000. We only had a couple of probably 2 slow years. Other than that, we've been jamming since 2000. I don't know how many industries can say that as a consistent statement. So, you know, you got to understand that it's not just hard, dirty labor. These are good jobs that take a brain, like you said, initiative and willpower and persistence. And it's just a great career. And it's not just, you know, it's like, and I don't want to sound bad, but I'm not driving a trash truck. You know what? I know some trash truck drivers that are good friends of mine, and they are smart people and they make good money. So it all depends on how you want to position it with your friends.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that too. So I don't have a college degree either. And like Greg said, I don't throw a hammer, but what I am good at is talking. You know, I have those, you know, early on, you guys mentioned something and I didn't answer the question, but you know, public speaking, everybody on this panel, it's not that easy when you first start out to talk in front of a bunch of people. Now this Zoom is a lot easier because I just look at, there's just 8 other faces, but when you have a room of 30, 40, heck, even if it's 4 people, get to that public speaking, be comfortable in who you are. And that's what I'm good at. That's why sales is for me. I'm in sales and construction. I'm good at what I do, but it didn't just come easy for me. I had to take, you know, in high school, take those speech classes, take debate classes, do those different types of skills. Like Greg said, I don't throw a hammer, and Lord help you, David, if I was your framer, your house would have to be reframed. It would be awful. I can't do it. I can set a window. I'm not doing fireplaces. I'm not doing that stuff, but I can sell it. So there's other avenues. You don't, you know, I have office hands. I don't have David's hands. So there are other avenues besides just coming home and needing a shower every day. So like Greg said, there's so many different avenues in construction. It's just not all about throwing a hammer.
Well, I can testify to that too, because Reiner and I did a talk with the Olathe OADTC with David Fortmiller, and we were pretty good together on that. You know, we got these kids engaged, and that's fun. I also want to add in one more thing before we wrap up. If all the educators have kids that are looking for jobs through NARI and the Home Builders Association, we have a whole directory of subcontractors. Just let us know what you want to do, what type of job you want for the summer. We'll get together. You know, Mike can get together with NARI. I can, or Ryan can, Greg can also get together with Home Builders Association. We'll go call people. We'll go try to find you a job in the field that you might have an interest in. I'm sure that Turner and Jay Dunn will still have those same resources. But get your name down. I want to work this summer. What do I want to do? And then let us see if we can find some resources for you. And before I leave, I want to add one more thing. Go Chiefs.
Absolutely.
Go Chiefs. Well, this has been great, guys. We're going to do a hard stop here in just a minute. I do want to mention that Owen has followed suit with Phoenix and has wanted to add his name to the list. So I'll make sure to follow up with Owen as well. So thank you all for doing this. I know your time is valuable, and today's a nice weather day. So I know you've got good weather out there to be in construction. So thanks for donating your time. Thanks for offering your perspective from very different perspectives. And we've really enjoyed your everything you've had to say. And the nice part is this has been recorded. So we will be able to share this with other students that throughout the next few years. So, and we hope to do it again. NEBA, Northland Education Business Alliance, is very focused on workforce, and we're very focused on economic development. So we hope to have further conversation with all of you in the near future. So thank you so much.